Hello everyone, I'm Artimage missing the top of his head.
And I'm Pup, and I'm fully in frame.
And we are doing this unboxing video because I received this stuff on Tuesday. I think Pup is going to find a great deal of fun, though they have a great deal of question about.
I doubt it.
Why don't you go ahead and cut it? It's set up for left hand. You hold it out. And you have to hold it.
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
And it's set up for a left hand.
Well, I don't care. Well, I don't do
backwards. There you go. Hold it with your
Oh, I found the sharp bit. Should I be doing this?
I think you should
Yes.
be doing this.
Even.
Did you entirely miss?
Yes.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and show the camera exactly what's in here.
Oh, no, you turned it off.
Yeah, I lowered it.
It's in there. That's all the goodies. You can't see. Oh. I hate you! I hate you!
So this is an Australian art YouTuber known as Jazza. This is his avatar. And
I did not mean to make that noise. I'm sorry about the waveform. I can't believe you got all of them?
he released these boxes of art supplies because he did one last year that was incredibly successful, but I only learned about him this year when Pup introduced me to him. This is the Jazza Ultimate Creativity Collection, which includes the incredibly inky art box, the Supreme Sculpture box, or Super, sorry, and the Megas Mini box. You can get all these still on order right now until sometime into January, either individually for USD $100, $200 rounding, or the whole set for just under $400. You have words? So we have the incredibly inky art box, and Pup is still not in a position where they can speak. Are there going to be words at some point during the rest of this video?
I promise nothing. Yay!
And now Pup doesn't need anything else out of this.
Video over, I'm good.
So let's have a look at what's actually in this box here. We have Jazza's Inky Box guidebook. He's got like these cool versions of his avatar on everything.
Yeah.
Giving us a quick flip. It just gives you a detail as to what's included.
And sort of the basics of how to do it.
Yeah.
He's done videos on how to do calligraphy before.
Basically, he's done videos on everything that's included in the art collection to some extent, so...
Because not only is he an artist who just sort of shares his work and has fun with art, he also wants to teach people how to do art. And so he does a lot of tutorials and sort of shares his journey with them.
So, we have this cappuccino page book. Like, it's called a cappuccino book because of the color of the pages.
Mm-hmm. It's good for picking up ink. That's actually apparently, that's a really good quality one.
Jazza will stand behind the quality of anything that he's put his name on.
We've also got this Fabriano grid book. So I don't know if you can pick that up, but these are grids. This is really good for spacing. So it's and for, making sure that all your lines are neat. These are good quality notebooks. These alone are really, really good. We've also got some, what is this?
Just basic writing card.
Yeah, writing card here.
It's more for when you're experiencing have a form down.
Yeah.
That way you're not just like this one particularly is your practice pad, and this one is like for cool display stuff. So once you're a little more familiar and want to show off,
we got a
couple of brushes here.
A couple of brushes, ink brushes.
In case you want to go real old school with your inks.
And we got some nibs, just like the standard.
I think those are actually pens.
Yes, these are pens with nibs, but they've got four of them. We've got a 3.0, a 2.5, and a 2.
Because here's where our real nibs come in. Jazza's Deluxe Writing Collection.
Oh, that's so fancy! Look at that!
So you have an actual like sort of quill thing here. So like a gel, most valuable thing in there. We have to keep that preciously.
And you have your whole little stand and holder. We've got our ink right here. And we've got all sorts of different nibs. So
let's get this quill pen out.
We've got a quill pen with a nice nifty little tip. This is where you would put the... Oh, this is so beautiful. Oh, this is gorgeous. But look at how nice that is. Look at how beautiful. This is such a gorgeous set. So this is the sort of main event. This is the... these are the...
And then amongst that, we do have other inks. Some which are better suited for the brushers, some brushes.
This thing does click together
Yeah,
quite...
it is magnetized.
Well, it's quite satisfying. Ooh, love it.
And between that and the bubble wrap, the pup is done.
Everything is
So-
satisfying.
There are so many inks in here. I thought they were like larger tubes instead of these little tubs.
So we've got all sorts of different colors, as well as some watercolor ink, which I think is really cool.
Some of these are the powder inks too.
So you would mix those with, yeah, it's basically, that's pigment, basically.
Yes.
And we've got our standard inks, liquid inks, if I could get them out of the thing, which I don't think I can.
That wasn't that hard.
Yeah, so we've got this nice yellow gold, and we've got a dark blue, and we've got a red.
Very strong crimson.
Yeah, and we've also got some alcohol inks, which I'm going to let our Artimage do.
So these ones are in a little more standard dropper bottles.
And we've got amethyst, aqua green, and rainbow for the alcohol ink. Oh,
There's one more. Tangerine.
I'm so excited for the rainbow alcohol ink. I think that's going to be super exciting because apparently it just gives it all a really nice shimmer. So if you can also mix the various inks together to get a good color. Jazza goes into detail on his video about these, link below.
If you have any familiarity with color theory, you can just figure it out from there pretty much.
Yeah, so he goes into detail about all the materials that you get and how to start with calligraphy. And there's a whole page on using the Pearl X powder pigments. And you can use the inks for other illustrations. So if you've got the water-based inks, you can also use them if you do watercolors. This is really awesome. That is amazing. And that's only one of the 3 that we've got today.
So let's go on to the sculpture box. Oh, this one's heavier. No surprise.
Well, yeah, it's full of clay and stuff.
So here's the Jazza Super Sculpture Box. It is pretty much what it sounds like, very much the same vein as the Inky Box.
Yeah, and only instead of ink and calligraphy, this is sculpture. So if you ever wanted to, oh, that's cute! And again, just to reiterate, Jazza has videos on how to use and do all of these on his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jazza, link below.
Alright, so once again, just fold back. There's more bubble wrap.
Yay!
We have our Super Sculpture Box guidebook.
So it tells you again a rundown of the materials that are in the box, how to use them, sort of basics. Yeah, so he's got pretty much everything from these videos, from these books, are stills from his own videos. That's really cool.
There's a Jazza face.
Jazza face! But that holds all your tools and stuff.
So let's get a look at some of these. First we have brushes, because believe it or not, clays can be painted. And sometimes you just want to work things away gently, much like a paleontologist might. Now these ones are more sculpting brushes. These are firm, not like rigid, but firm.
Yes.
So they don't have give, they're not bristled. Whereas these ones, the first ones, are bristled.
Yeah.
This is basically a rolling pin.
Yeah. It's a rolling pin. So the rolling pin is to essentially make sure that make sure that you get smooth, even surfaces if you need to thin something out.
Why do we need this explanation?
I don't know.
It's a rolling pin.
It's a rolling pin. You know what rolling pins do.
We have this precision tool. I thought it said percussion tool for a second. I was like, what? Why do you need to beat it?
You never know.
It has these little tips to make the sculpting a little easier.
Yeah, it's good for detail work, for lines, ridges, things like that.
There are other tools in here for that as well. Here's some of them.
These little precision tools are good for, like I said, details, and also for shaving off small amounts of clay to get, more precise shape. I like these. They're very good quality. They're very heavy. And they've got an array of different shapes, so you can get different angles, different lines.
The zipper is screwed up.
And then we got here some more of those tools.
These ones are much finer detail.
Like way, way finer.
Some of them almost look like tempered picks at the one end.
And they've got this cool little carrying case here. And then, oh, this is so good. This has I think this is real wood.
It is real wood.
That's gorgeous. Oh, this is lovely. So these are, again, because these are bigger, they're for more broad things, but these also just, again, good for carving, good for sculpting.
But these ones are more so like your actual shaving, to just wear things down, thin it out. These ones are actually for shaping. This is the one that I'm most curious to try, really, is all the sculpting stuff.
This is a bunch of wire.
Armature wire.
Armature wire, yeah. So what you would do is, if you're doing a big sculpture, you don't want to just make it out of one big block of clay, because
it will crumble and break.
Yeah, everything needs a skeleton. So this is your skeleton. You would insert this into your clay, and it gives it some sort of a structure to build up on. So this is a really, really good inclusion. I'm very happy this is in there.
I can't remember exactly how this tool is used. I think it's just more for like marring up a surface.
Yeah, to make sort of, I think the word for them is greebles.
Maybe.
But like they're so it doesn't look like just one smooth surface. This is to make you have some texture, give it some, naturalistic scuffing.
Clay blades.
Well, that's for actually cutting off your clay.
Apparently do bend too, so you can get a sort of shape going in the process of doing that. Mm-hmm. Some of these have this one here has a saw thing going on.
Like a what would you call that?
Zigzag?
I would call that a serration? No.
That's not serration.
A ruffle.
I think you know what we're talking about. I can see it on the video right now.
Yeah, it's that thing. So use the long rigid blade for straight cuts or edges. Use the short flexible blade for curved cuts and edging. Use wave blade for decorative cuts and edging.
So we'll move on to the actual clay materials now. This one here is Monster Clay. Super free oil-based elastic clay, premium grade and medium. Jazza's favorite clay specifically says. It has his face down at the bottom.
Yeah, this one has Jasmine's favorite polymer clay too.
So the clay that Pup has is called Cos clay.
Cos clay, yeah. So this is in a sort of a, I guess you might call it, if you're white, it would be a flesh tone or a peach tone.
The Monster Clay is very hard. Like, I can barely make it move or give right now.
That's another good use for the rolling pin. It's really, really rigid and hard. You need to work it a while for it to be flexible enough for you to shape.
And some clays do need to be warmed.
Yeah, so you warm it up a little bit with your hands, or you'd use that rolling pin to work through it and make sure that it's flexible enough for you to actually make a shape out of.
Some clays might require something like a microwave. I'm not sure if either of these clays do. I know this one does not. It specifically says do not. This one does not, that I noticed.
No heating or ovening is required because this one's soft grade.
There you go.
And you can see here, I can push into this, and it
takes some work.
It makes a dent. Like, it's hard, but it's not impossible. So again, that's where your cutting tools will be.
This one, I clearly made a dent, just barely pushing my thumb into it.
Yeah.
Like, so there is effort being put in to get that deep, but it's already workable.
Yeah, this is workable too, to an extent, but this is where you would want to cut it up and shape it with your rolling pin, get some flexibility into it, get some of your hand warmth into it. And this is a very, very popular type of clay called Sculpey, or Sculpey. You knead it until it's soft and smooth, and then you press the pieces together. This does need to be baked.
To harden.
To harden, but it is an oven-baked clay. Comes in a number of different beautiful colors. And
they're all very primary colors, so like nothing too extreme.
But they can
At
also
least
be,
in this set, anyways.
But the thing about Sculpey is that you can mix it, so to make a different color.
But then again, we're going back to color theory as we did with the Inky Box.
Yeah.
We have some pastels, and I think these are just oil pastels. Are they?
That's good for getting color into your clays, and good for coloring your clay.
Yeah, these are just plain old oil pastels you may have played with as early on as elementary school. So they are meant for coloring things. Obviously, in this case, mostly your sculpturings.
But you can use them for other things. Like that's the beauty of these boxes. It doesn't have to be just using them. Like with the ink brushes, you can use the inks for painting. You can use the brushes for painting. But with these, you can use the pastels if you just want to draw something with pastels.
Now, if you're just getting started in any of these, I suggest that you stick with the box's content for what you want to do with it. And if you want to veer into something else that's not including the box and these make sense, sure, go ahead.
And always, I cannot stress enough, youtube.com/Jazza. Link is below. Please click on it. Instead of making your own mistakes, you can just watch him. So that's the sculpture box. And the next one is what I'm pretty sure Artimage will get more out of than I will.
Well, basically this box I'm going to use to finally get you to invest into your Elder Scrolls miniatures.
Yes, that's fair.
One way or another, you are doing these guys. This
Is the biggest box.
is the Mega Minis box, and it is indeed mega, and Jazza stresses that himself. He used to be a regular 40k player, but then sold off his army to actually invest in starting the channel. And he has recently gotten back into it. And you can check out some of that detail over his other channel, Tabletop Time, which will also be linked down below.
Also, frequent appearances with his brother Shad of Shadiversity. And they've got a new game, role-playing game up and running called Cogent, which is really cool.
The rules are free for download, which will also provide the link for that down below,
Yep.
as well as the Tabletop Time YouTube channel, and Shad's new channel, Game Night, since that is now of relevance. So let's get this one open.
Yeah. Oh, this is a big one. Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, slightly bigger bubble wrap.
Oh. Again, guys, it's custom. It has a guidebook where it tells you about what the tools are and how to use them. This one is the one that I'm most excited to look at because of a few things, which you will see in short order.
So first we have a wet palette, which is very handy when you're painting, because if you just put your paints down on a surface, it is going to dry out, and you'll have to put down new paint. You waste a lot of paint that way. This way, it keeps your paints wet and usable, and basically the only time I wind up throwing out paper for when I'm doing this is when I overspread, and if it's too thin for me to pick up any longer. In between painting sessions, you can do something as simple as cover this with like cellophane, or if you have a proper lid for it, you can use that, and then put it in the refrigerator, and it'll keep the life of your paints, and you can take it out again afterwards and just go right in the fridge. This thing is gorgeous.
These are actual minis based off of a painting that Jazza did. That was one of the first videos I saw of his. When he sculpted that, it was one of his character design challenges that he does. He made this art and then he turned it into miniatures that you can actually sculpt and put together and paint yourself.
And one of the first videos he released after launching this entire art box collection is a video where he made a diorama around these miniatures using basically only materials found in this art box collection. Now the next one that I'm going to bring out here is probably the only time again that I will paint Space Marines, and I haven't painted any since 2013. And that is because these are Jazz's special Space Marines where he is included in this.
Yeah, that's his face.
These are provided by Puppets War, by the way, both miniatures boxes. Puppetwar.eu, puppetswar.eu. Includes magnetized instructions.
That's exciting. Because you can swap out the parts. Because he is obnoxious but consistent, he put his own head on the Space Marines. And the rest of this box, apart from this thing, which we'll get to later,
Yep.
there's just some standard stuff. Wood glue, obviously.
That's going to help with your basing. Basically, you mix a little bit of wood glue and water and some what's called flock, and put it on your bases to make it look like you're standing on a grassy field or dirt or something like that. Milliput.
It's epoxy. It's epoxy putty.
Yep. It's basically if you need to sculpt any little details or fill gaps or things like that. Basically, this is how you would typically go about miniature sculpting for finer detailed stuff, and if you don't want to invest in doing a full sculpture sort of thing, it has various uses.
We've got super glue. Everyone knows what super glue is. You put your minis together with it.
Or yourself together with it. Or your tools to yourself together with it.
Or
everything but your mini together with it.
We've got some of your
Good clippers.
Sprue cutters.
Good hobby knife. Here's another little paint palette. Good for mixing colors in. Here's something special. Jazza's curated paints from Army Painter. Army Painter is one of the better companies out there, and they're one of the ones I stand behind pretty well. They're up there second or third place, I'd say, in my current lines of paint.
That's a good selection of paints.
As well as brushes.
And brushes.
Let's go ahead and get a look at the paints and brushes that we have here. Army Painter brushes are the brushes I tend to prefer, for the record. Army Painter, much like Citadel, one of the primary wargaming paint companies out there, does have basically a three-step system where it's paint, details, and washes, and you're done. They are set up to do that, but they are not meant exclusively for that, unlike Citadel is trying to push. So that's one of the big reasons I stand behind these guys so much. This is basically your Army Painter starting guide. Tell you what the tools and such they have. Give you a quick rundown on proper usage of all your things. We have a small selection of paints here and basing materials. Paints we have: matte white, barbarian flesh, demonic yellow, goblin green, crystal blue. We have a wash here of the Strong Tone. We have back to paints. We have Matte Black, Oak Brown, Fur Brown, which is slightly more red in it, and Dragon Red. Metallic Plate Mail Metal. We have the Green Gold, and then we have Gloss Varnish. Brush on Primer. Hate brushing on primer. Hate brushing on primer.
Well, you don't have to.
I have an airbrush for a reason. That's where this will go. Brushing on a primer is an option. It's just so tedious and painstaking. As I said, we have some basic materials. This is some of that flock I mentioned. Grass, thick weeds, fine gravel, what seems to be wood chips, I think. Snow!
In case you want some snow.
Grassy tufts. We have 3 brushes, as we mentioned. The particular ones here, the Hobby Base Coating Brush, Hobby Dry Brush, and last but not least, Kolinsky Masterclass. Very fine detail brush. We have a couple of tweezers here. Things just such as removing little hairs that wind up mixed in with your paint sometimes, because you should. That's the paint stuff that Jazza has curated for us. And it's a pretty good selection and a good way to get started on this part of the hobby.
Because again, we want to reiterate, everything in all of these boxes was handpicked by Jazza himself. This is stuff that he uses and that he personally stands behind. I'm really pleased with all this. As a newbie to minis, the fact that we've got these guides and a lot of materials, like, it's worth, I think, what we're putting into it.
It's more than worth. Like, the literal dollar value is about twice what you would spend on the box, even if you bought the individual box.
It's only a couple more things in this box. Foam! Everyone loves foam. This is for your terrain. We've got some balsa wood, I think.
That looks like corkboard.
Oh, okay, it's corkboard. And foam.
We have a cutting mat.
Oh yeah, a cutting mat for cutting. It's got measurements on it.
It has Jazza's face on it.
Of course. Obnoxious but consistent.
And the thing Puff has been most excited for, and I definitely want to make sure they got.
It's a art print, but it is also signed. It is signed. It's signed. You can see that where his pen was starting to go a bit dry.
So that is the Jazza Ultimate Creativity Collection, which Puff had no idea was coming.
I'm shocked. I'm very excited to try out a lot of these things. I think that it's a really good thing that Jazza did. All of his links are going to be in the bottom below. So I cannot stress enough how much I want you guys to go check him out. I think if you like art of any kind, minis, sculpture.
Even if you yourself are not an artist, you will find a great deal of fun in this.
I am not an artist. I started watercolor painting because of Jazza. I got interested in this stuff because of him. So it's worth it. If you even think maybe you might be interested, I really encourage you to go check him out.
Even if you don't wind up buying one of these boxes, like, it's worth checking out his channel just for the fun of that.
Yeah.
If any of these boxes do appeal, you have until sometime in early January to...
Actual date will be on the screen right now.
So, definitely if you have any interest, go pick them up, because once they're done selling them, they're done. Just like the one they did last year, which I would have had more interest in, but that's how time works. What's your reaction here, Pop?
I think I summed up quite nicely in the beginning.
With your instant reaction of seeing what it was?
I think we're just gonna put it in that. You can't see. Honestly, it's worth it just to support one of my favorite creators on YouTube. I'm getting sappy because I love Jazza so much, and I know he's as much of a crybaby as I am.
That's gonna wrap this up, folks, and hope that we've at least inspired you to check out a new YouTuber. And
yeah, even if you don't do anything, just give him a couple views. Go over, check him out. You're gonna like it. So there's something there for everyone. Or if you like watching someone try and paint a Bob Ross tutorial twice the speed, it's really hard apparently.
I haven't done that yet, Bob. Let's change brush. Ah! That one's got paint on it! No! So does this one!
Let's get crazy in here.
Let's get crazy up in here! Oh, he's onto another colour. Just wait, Bob, just wait. I've got grain on my brush. That's gonna have to do. That's alright, looks mostly blue.
Maybe we got some more big bushes that live. Do now, right here. Just drop them in.
What the hell is that?
obviously there will be videos in the future with some of this stuff being used.
Yep.
All the social media links are down below, as well as Twitch link for when we do our regular live stream.
In any case, stay safe out there. I know that this year has been really rough for all of us, but this is part of why this is so good. Having something where you can stay inside with your socially distanced loved ones and make some art. I think that's a good idea.
So until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
We'll see you next time.
This is not working like I imagined it in my head! Ow! That's really f***ing hot! You go near that water and a croc attacks you, you're probably going to shit your pants.